If you don't take control of your schedule is going to take control of you. Probably one of the most common questions I get from agents is, how do I control my time? How do I manage my time in a way that I can be most effective? I'm going to give you some strategies today that's going to give you the ability to have the ideal day every single day. All right, today we're really going to talk about something that I really have a passion for, because I believe the more efficient we are with our time, the more we control our schedule, the more we're going to have an opportunity to add value to the marketplace. But in reality, it's all got to start with you doing an audit of what's the most effective use of your time. So the first thing we're going to do is I'd like for you to take and look, how have you been generating business? Take your last 12 months worth of sales, go in there and see, where did those folks come from? Did they come from referrals? Did they come from cold calling? Did they come from open houses? Whatever it is. Make a diary of exactly where your past transactions came from, and that's going to give us a better idea of the most effective things you can do. So once we've done an audit of exactly where your business has been coming from in the past, now we understand a little bit about what's been working in the past. Now let's do an audit of exactly where we are now. Now this is going to sound a little monotonous, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. I want you to do a 2-week, basically just an hourly diary of exactly what you do on an hourly basis during the business time that you're actually at the office or you're actually doing work. It's going to be pretty eye-opening. You're going to begin to see some patterns here. I'll promise you it's probably going to be one of your best 2 weeks as far as efficiency, because if you know that you got to write it down at the end of the 2 hours, you're going to really focus in for those hours that you're working. I would say this also, it's going to give us a real outline of the things that you're doing that maybe are working, and maybe it's also going to give us an outline of things that you're spending a ton of time on that you've gotten no results from. This gives us the opportunity really to come in, see where our business has been coming from, see exactly what we're doing now. Now we can plan for the future to have our ideal schedule. Now that we understand the activities that are most efficient for us, we've found that maybe 65% of our transactions actually came from our sphere of influence. How much time are we spending talking to our sphere of influence? Maybe we see that 50% of our transactions came from internet leads, for instance. If that's the case, then maybe we need to spend more time there. Or maybe it's open houses. Whatever it is for you, now we know what we should spend our time on and we should focus on. But let's talk about on a daily basis what this looks like. Listen, I've never been at a place where I could win the entire day if I didn't win the morning. So for me, I think it's critically important that you set your day up in a way that works best for you. Me personally, I want to do 3 things when I wake up in the morning. First off, I want to break a sweat every day. Somehow I want to break a sweat every day. I want to physically get moving in a way that gives me the energy to have all the energy I need for the rest of the day. I also want to spend some time, and I want to spend some time growing mentally. So this is a podcast. This is maybe reading a book, or this is watching a YouTube video that's going to broaden my knowledge of what I'm trying to do on a daily basis. And listen, I'm not trying to get overly spiritual with you, but I'll tell you, for me, I want to spiritually get centered in a way that gives me the platform and the opportunity to have the best day I've ever had. When I started off with focusing on something spiritually, focusing on something mentally, and focusing on something physically, it propels me into the schedule that I know is going to help me be the most efficient I can possibly be. All right, so now that we've won the morning, now let's talk about once you get to the office, or once you get to a place where you begin to get into focus. I would say this: you ought to have some type of routine. There ought to be something that cues you mentally that now is the time that I'm moving into work mode. For me, it's something like this. I want to make sure I walk into the office the same way every day. I actually walk in, I turn a certain light on. I then walk back to my office and I turn the certain light on. It's almost like I'm mentally setting myself up to get ready. I'll lay my laptop up the same way. Have a pattern. And if we're looking at this, everything goes back to, if you have a pattern, it begins to move you mentally into the focus mode you need to be in. Whatever that is for you. Some people turn on music, they get themselves going that way. Some people have different things they do. Whatever it is for you, find a pattern that gets you into a place where you're ready to take action. Now we're going to talk about time blocking. This is something that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but I'll promise you, if we're not controlling, as we mentioned earlier, our schedule is going to just fill it with things that aren't productive for us. So I like to say your first half of the day should be prospecting. Every single person, it should be prospecting. And in a lot of cases, if you're newer or if you're even an experienced agent, there should be some script, possibly finding somebody that you can sit down with and practicing your scripts of what you're going to be calling on that day. If you'll practice a little bit before you start, it gets your momentum going, where when you actually get on the phone with people, you're not actually practicing on people. You're practicing before, and then when you're on the stage, you're ready to take action. Here's what a time block looks like, and a lot of people do this differently. I always say I break them into hour-long segments. You can't do anything for 3 hours, you're going to burn yourself out. So whatever that schedule is ideally for you, I'll tell you what it was for me. Mine was that I wanted to really break it down to two things. I wanted to do new prospecting, and I wanted to do nurturing of either past clients or people that I'm working with right now. So I broke it into 25-minute segments. I wanted 25 minutes that I was going to do on new prospects. I want to do 25 minutes that I was actually focusing on people I'm working with right now or past clients, just checking in on them. Then I want to take the last 10 minutes of each of those hours, do emails, get up. I actually did it where I was rewarding myself depending on what I was doing with some food or maybe something that I enjoyed, whatever it was, where I had something I was looking forward to at the end of those 50 minutes. Then I had 10 minutes of rest. And then I got right back into it. I did 25 minutes, and then I did 25 minutes, and then I did 10 minutes off. 3 hours a day. I promise you, if you'll get in there and you'll time block, don't set any appointments before noon. If you'll set your appointments in the afternoon, I promise, if you think about this, if you know that you've only got the afternoon for appointments, you'll only take the afternoon for appointments. You'll prospect when you need to. Prospecting is the critical part. Conversations. We know 50 conversations equals one deal. So how many conversations are you having? If you'll lay it out with the number of transactions you're looking for, the numbers begin to work. Work your schedule, and I promise you, you're going to get more efficient. All right, once we've time blocked and we spent our morning prospecting, I promise you're going to have the opportunity really in the afternoons to follow up on the people that said they'd like more information, to follow up on listing appointments, to follow up on possibly showing properties, or to manage the transactions you already have. Time blocking is going to give you the ability to control your day. Now let's talk about this, because a lot of time what happens is you can just go set up this time blocking, you can set up the other schedules, and you never know whether you're gaining ground or not. When you're evaluating this is the way I always like to do it. I like to take when I got done at noon, I wanted to evaluate my morning. What worked? What didn't? What was I good at? What do I need to focus on getting better at? Were there questions that I got asked that I couldn't answer quickly? And could I develop a script that I could practice with? Or could I ask someone that had been in the business longer than I have that it could actually give me some understanding of what they would say in those situations? You see, when you're evaluating and you're understanding what was my strength, what was my weakness, where was my opportunity, and where was the threat to my business if I don't change something, now when you take that SWOT theory and you actually apply it each day, at the middle of the day, I promise you your mornings are going to get more and more efficient each time. Then what I like to do is the end of the day, I'd like to do an evaluation of the entire day. What was my afternoon like? Did I have other appointments that I was effective in? Were there questions, again, that I was asked while I was with people that maybe I'd like to get a little tighter on my answers with? You see, we typically get asked the same questions. It's typically a business where a lot of new things don't come. We're going to have maybe the 10 questions that we're going to typically get asked. And there's always that one or two that we just hope they don't ask because we don't have the great answer. If you'll actually be out there and seeking for that right answer, practicing that script, that's going to turn something that you're hoping they don't ask for to where you're hoping that they do, because you'll have exactly the way to handle that objection. Listen, if you'll take control of your day, I promise your efficiency is going to go up, your business is going to grow, and I promise you're going to have a lot more sanity because you're going to have control of the situation rather than just reacting to everything that happens. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.